Welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. When you're ready to transform your sales for today's transforming market, we've got you covered with your host, the queen of cold calling and founder of Salesology, award-winning author, speaker, sales trainer, and coach, Wendy Weiss.
Hi, welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. And I'm your host, Wendy Weiss. I am the founder of Salesology and the Salesology Prospecting Method. And I'm also known as the queen of cold calling. And today I have two very special guests. I have Shea Kane, who is the marketing director of DirectPay. And I also have Jason Henke, who is the relationship manager at DirectPay. So I'm going to begin by introducing Shea. She transitioned from a career in teaching. Then she worked with the Borders Group as a merchandising director for nearly a decade. And then she joined the DirectPay team as head of their marketing department and navigated the company through rebranding in 2013. Shea has helped create a culture within the organization focused on an aligned mission to not only provide business owners with seamless payment processing, but also free education, networking opportunities within their membership community. And her goal is to share how and why DirectPay is the gold standard for credit card acceptance and to teach members how to strategically use the tools and features of their account to ensure the growth and sustainability of their business. And point of transparency here, I am a DirectPay client, have been since, I think it's 2002. Is that correct, Shea? Something like that.
A long time.
A long time, yes. And I also want to introduce Jason Henke, who is the relationship manager at DirectPay. And Jason's been with DirectPay for 5 years, and he ensures that new members are set up with optimized rates and are ready to use all the features of their payment system. His knowledge and experience have seen business owners from startups to six figures and beyond. Business owners value Jay's relationship-driven approach to accepting credit cards, including free advice and education, partnership opportunities, and one-on-one accessible support. And I can't say enough good things about Jason and Shea and DirectPay. I'll give my full testimonial later on, but I'm really happy that the two of you are here. So let me start with you, Shea, because I want to know what the backstory is. Tell us a little bit about DirectPay. Tell us how you became the marketing director.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking of becoming an English teacher. And I really realized when I was in front of the classroom that I cared more about content than I did about, I guess, disciplining a bunch of 12-year-olds. So I actually went into DirectPay when I saw an ad for a customer service rep. And our CEO, Neil Alcala, said to me, "You don't want this job." And I said, "What do you mean? I do. I very much want this job." And he said, "Nope." He said, "You're an educator. You're a writer." He said, "I'm going to make a position for you here." So he made me the copywriter. And then over the last 16 years, I transitioned into managing our sponsorships, and negotiating our contracts, doing the website copy, of course, and then really fully developing our affiliate program, just because so much of our business is referral based. So we wanted to make sure that we had a really, really attractive program, and also just that we're continuing that way to generate leads. So that's kind of how I got here. And I love it. It's a very family oriented company. We kind of feel like a family here, and it's hard to leave. And you were just saying, you've been a client since 2002. It's difficult to leave as an employee too, or a team member at DirectPay, because it's great. It's a great place to work too.
I believe that. And I will just say, as someone that's been a client since 2002, you make your clients feel like part of the family. So that is truly truly remarkable. And let's turn to Jason. What's your backstory? How did you end up at being the relationship? Jason, knowing you, I think relationship manager or any title with the word relationship in it suits you.
Well, I thank you for that. And honestly, I think I have the best job at DirectPay because I'm in that relationship space, right? My position there is to get to know all of our merchants, all of our members, get to know what you do, how you do it, and build, an account around that, as opposed to just searching for one that's, a box cutter off of the shelf. How I became the relationship manager, I've been in finance, some level of finance or some area of finance my entire, adult working life. And the opportunity arose with this company, and it was the word relationship manager that drew me to the position. It was defined and explained to me in such a way that, my personality can get behind. Shea mentioned it. Neil creates an environment so friendly, so generous, so encouraging that it's an easy place to work for. Easy place to work for.
I believe that, and I want to share with our audience. I thought it was really important to bring the two of you here to the Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders podcast, because so many business owners, their sales teams, they're working so hard to close sales, but if you can't collect the money at the end of the day, why bother?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Yeah, so let me begin with the question: what are some of the challenges that you see that business owners and entrepreneurs have when it comes to collecting payments? I can think of a few, but let me hear from you.
Well, I think first of all, it's choosing the right partner for your business, choosing someone that wants to get to know what you do and understands what you do before you start running money through there, right? You want the people that are responsible for getting you your money each and every day need to be the people that understand your business the most. I truly believe that. So choosing the right partner and not just picking the option that's right in front of your face, spending time and getting to know all of your systems, but especially with your money, choosing the right partner, I would say.
Can you give me some examples? Like, how do you choose? What do you know? Oh, what should one be looking at if you're saying, okay, well, it's time for me to get, business is growing, I need a merchant account, or I need a new merchant account, I need a credit card processor. What are the questions that business owners should be asking themselves?
Do you have other businesses like mine as clients, right? Do you have similar businesses to mine as clients already, so you can understand, we'll understand any kind of challenge that you're having prior to even having it.
Okay. So what kind of problems can they run into if, let's say, I just take the credit card and then money goes in my bank account. Like, what's the problem?
Well, notoriously, it's holding money, holding a reserve, a portion of your funds not being deposited. The way a merchant services company, all of them, mitigate risk is by holding money back. So you want to understand if your merchant partner is going to hold a reserve or maintain a reserve on your money.
Okay, well, I will tell you, perfect segue for me to tell my horror story. Because I started with DirectPay in about 2002. And at some point, somebody came along and told me they could save me a whole bunch of money on my credit card processing fees. And so I switched. And they held on to our money for weeks on end, and we couldn't get anybody to get a customer service person to explain what they were doing and when they were going to give us our money. We had to be on the phone on hold for like 45 minutes to an hour. And it was a complete nightmare. And I think we lasted maybe 6 weeks. And then I called you folks back and I said, please, can I come back? Please, I don't care if you raise my rate, just let me come back. That is a true story. You perhaps remember that, Shea.
I do. And I just wanted to add to that, just because, you were talking a little bit about the other options people have and what their merchant processor should offer. That I think that a lot of business owners just go with quick fix resources like Square and Stripe and PayPal because they have you up and running by the end of the day, if not the next day. But we tell people really that's exactly why you shouldn't go with them, because they're not asking any questions about your business model. They're not asking where you do business, how much do your products cost. And what inevitably ends up happening is you do something irregular, even if it's great. You have like a $10,000 weekend, they freeze your money. And because it's not your own personal business merchant account, the money is going from the customer to PayPal or Square to the business owner. And there's a lot of money that gets held up in that middleman territory. So I think a lot of people don't know that.
That's really interesting. So the money, when DirectPay is the credit card processor, the money goes from the customer to the business, not customer DirectPay business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, that is so interesting. I didn't even know that. So what happens then if you're using something and then they freeze the account because you have they think it's unusual activity?
So what they would notoriously do is hold a percentage of your funds. So let's say you had a weekend and at the end of the weekend you had $25,000 batch out. Well, they'll hold 30% of that money for X amount of days. So, and then when that money has reached a certain amount, they'll release a portion, but never the full amount. So they want to keep and maintain a reserve balance. And it is all in the name of mitigating risk. So that if that account cannot fund any refunds or returns, the money is there to fund it so that Stripe doesn't have to fund it. Because you have to understand the merchant services company, us, PayPal, Bank of America, we're on the line to make a card holder whole if something isn't fulfilled, right? If a service or a product isn't provided, and there's no money in that business's account to refund, it's the merchant company that is on the line to make them whole. So the way those third-party providers mitigate that risk is to maintain a reserve so that should that worst case scenario happen, they're not holding the bag to fund it.
So for a business that, for example, does launches or has big events, or maybe even just like annual sales.
Yes, especially for businesses that have peaks and valleys within their processing. They have a launch and they process an enormous amount, and now they fulfill that program. So they're not processing as much. Those peaks and valleys are where the reserve, you really run a risk of having a reserve if you have that type of business. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think the other thing that happens too, because I had this experience actually with PayPal one time, is that it's all ticketed support. So you're panicking because the money is not getting to you when it should. What's going on? Where is my money? And then you get a support ticket and they don't get right back to you. And a lot of merchant services providers like DirectPay or Dharma or PowerPay, you actually have a direct contact there. So you have Jay, who's familiar with your account, and you can dial his number directly, versus when you call PayPal or Square or Stripe and you get the automated robot and then you wait and wait and wait. And then you talk to somebody who says, okay, who are you? What do you do? So I think that's part of what makes it even more complicated.
Well, I will speak to that because I do indeed have Jay's direct line and
Yes.
have had occasion to call him. And you know what the good news is here? He answers the phone. But even if I call your 800 number, somebody answers the phone, which these days is just like a miraculous thing.
Absolutely.
So what are the questions that business owners should be asking themselves, or what are the things they should be thinking about when they're looking for a payment processor? You mentioned somebody that understands your business.
Absolutely. Do you have a contract, a cancellation penalty? That's a big one within the merchant services space. Typically, you need to sign a 3-year agreement. I would look into that because you don't want to be tied to something if it's not supporting you. We're very big on that. Rate is important, but that rate is going to be dictated by the types of transactions you do. So that's why that conversation and getting to know what you do is so important to building the account, because it could be built around the lowest rates out there. But if you're not going to see any of those types of transactions, what good is it, right? Taking the time to understand and build an account around what you do specifically is where you're going to save the most money in your rates.
And I want to go back to what you said about cancellation policy. Am I understanding what you said, that other merchant processors, that you need to sign a contract for 3 years or more, that you cannot get out of, even if they're holding your money?
You can get out of it, but there's a cancellation penalty, $1,500, $1,200, $750. And it hurts when they're holding 20 grand of yours and you got to pay them $750 to get out of working with them. That's like, salt on the wound, right? That's not fair. It's kicking me when I'm down. I got to pay you to get rid of you, and you're holding my money. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Thank you for educating me on that. I had no idea.
Absolutely.
So we're going to pause for a moment for a word from our sponsor. But then when we come back, I'm going to hold Jason and Shea's feet to the fire and ask them about how some of their clients, how business owners are using their merchant account to manage and grow their business, some tips for our listeners. But now a word from our sponsor, the Salesology Vault. Just about every guest that I have interviewed on the Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders podcast has had a free gift for our listeners. And that does include Jason and Shea and DirectPay today. They have a free gift for our listeners. So what we've done is we've taken all of those gifts and we put them all in one place just for you. We call it the Salesology Vault, and it is packed full of free gifts from sales leaders, sales experts, marketing gurus, revenue generation experts. And we add another gift every single week. Every Monday, we release a podcast. And when we release that podcast, we add a gift. You can log in as often as you'd like and download as many gifts as you'd like. It's all free. So the link to the Salesology Vault is in the show notes. After you finish listening to this podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link. You'll be glad you did. And I am back with my two special guests from DirectPay. I have Shea Kane, who is the marketing manager, and I have Jason Henke, who is the relationship manager. So welcome back, both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so give us some tips. How are some of your members using their merchant account, using the expertise of DirectPay to manage and grow their businesses?
Well, I wanted to touch on one thing that we didn't talk about earlier, and that's the integration. Just because a lot of people want their merchant account or their payment processing system to sort of communicate or talk to their CRM or their shopping cart or their website or their bookkeeping software. So a lot of what we do also is we help people integrate those systems with each other and then set up automation so that everything is just seamlessly a machine that works to drive sales 24/7, 365. And it also is something we do that we encourage our members to set up some kind of subscription-based product or a membership fee product just so that they're actually generating that passive income as well with that system.
Yeah, I do have to say you all make it very easy with the support that you provide. So what else would you recommend? That you're recommending to your clients to use their merchant accounts to grow their businesses?
Well, Shea touched on it. It is those reoccurring subscription and membership opportunities. If you're not using your merchant account to rebill your clients, you're not utilizing it to its full potential. Not having to ask for card and billing information is a powerful, element in a sales conversation. This person was already a client of yours, already bought from you. You have their information available to you. You make the sale, and using that card information is a powerful sales tool, especially in reselling and client retention, because it's simple. We talk about it. You need to make it as simple as possible for people to pay you, because they've already said yes, right? You've done all that hard work. You've marketed, you've come up with the content, you've come up with the product, whatever you're providing. And then you did a great job. You made the pitch and you made the sale. You got the yes. This part should not be difficult for your client, how to pay you.
That is true, because if it's really hard, they could change their minds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's also why at midnight I'm buying things I don't need on Amazon, because it's so easy to just click. They saved my credit card information in there.
Absolutely. And I know DirectPay also does a lot of other types of things that are not credit card processing specific, but you do a lot of things to support your clients in other ways. Could you speak to some of those things, the networking, the different types of support that you give clients?
I just want to jump in, Jay. This is actually something that you guys do on your end, the sales and support team does, but we don't really talk about it that much. And that's the way that you guys help people with their website language, not over promising things and using language that's going to maybe stop cash flow, because it's going to cause some kind of a problem, and also having really, really good refund and privacy policies on the website. I know that you guys actually work with a lot of our clients on that. We actually take a look at their websites and at their marketing copy and say, whoa, wait a minute, this could be a problem later. Somebody could do a chargeback because you worded it this way.
Right. And if you're a service provider, we look at your contract, we look at your client agreement to see where it can be strengthened and what kind of language needs to be in there to protect the sale. Absolutely. That's what comes with, being in business, since 1998 in this space, is we know, what works, but I think most importantly, we know what doesn't work, and that kind of information is something we're very proud of to be able to share with our community.
Absolutely. Because sometimes when you're a busy business owner, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And until somebody does that chargeback or you have some other problem that could have been averted. So that's a tremendous service. And I know, Jay, you have a gift for all of our listeners.
I do. And it is that it's a conversation with me. Let's chat. Let me hear how you're accepting payments, what methods you're using, where people are purchasing, and we can take a look if there's ways that we can streamline it, some hints that we can help you within your shopping cart or on your website that we could, maybe reduce your abandoned carts by doing just a few tweaks here and there. That's really all it is. It's just a conversation with me, hearing, learning what you do and sharing with you what our other members have done similarly, or maybe not, but just ways that we can collaborate.
Okay, and that is your complimentary customer journey session, right?
That is the customer journey session. Exactly.
Yes.
We'll look to optimize your payment process. That's basically the purpose.
Okay, and there's no fee for this.
Absolutely no fee at all. It's not a sales call. You're not buying a merchant account. That's what I love about what we do, right? We don't sell anything. It's awesome. So it really is just a conversation.
Okay. If you want to do the complimentary customer journey session with Jason, which I recommend, then the link to schedule that's in the show notes. So after you finish listening to this podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link, schedule your session with Jason. And now, Shea, if people want to get in touch with you or with Jason, DirectPay, what's the best way to do that? Where can they find you?
Well, they can find us. We're on social media. We're on Instagram and we're on Facebook and LinkedIn. I also wanted to mention that we are on YouTube. We didn't talk about that, but one other thing we do is that we have a lot of our clients do webinars and talk about what they do and offer products to the rest of our community. So we have this really great YouTube channel. We call it the Learning Library. And it's basically just all of our different clients, giving some advice. It's all educational. And then at the end, maybe they have some kind of a special offer. And that's really cool.
Okay, so we are going to post all of those links in the show notes. So if you want to connect with DirectPay, with Jason, with Shea, after you finish listening to this podcast, go to the show notes, click on the links. And you have been listening to Salesology, Conversations with Sales Leaders, with my two very special guests, Shea Kane, Marketing Director at DirectPay, and Jason Henke, Relationship Manager at DirectPay. And if you have found value in listening to today's podcast, then think about one other business owner or entrepreneur or sales leader, somebody that you know that you think might also find value in listening to the podcast. And please do share the link with them. And until we meet again, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, really large bills.
You've been listening to Salesology, Conversations with Sales Leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. Be sure to follow so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every week for more exciting insights and wisdom on transforming sales. And until next time, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, very large bills.